with us today. Our theme for 2024 is a grand rising. And this month is August, so we have a new theme. The theme for August is unstatus quo. And I can't wait to hear what that's all about. Reverend Charlene is going to be speaking on the impact of othering today. We're so glad you joined us today. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later in the service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. We invite you to get comfortable and relax in this moment as we officially begin our service with this welcoming video.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Dan, for doing our platform presentation, for doing our hosting for this session. I appreciate that. What a wonderful community we have. So, as you know, I'm Charlene, and it's the beginning of August, and in a true Tamara fashion, I want to lead us through a loving kindness meditation. So while she's off enjoying her summer break with her family and friends, I know that if she were here, she would lead us through this because she loves to do it at the beginning of every month. So allow me to take us into meditation. So go ahead and relax your body, just settling your feet on the floor. And in a comfortable position, closing your eyes if you feel that that's appropriate. Just taking a nice deep anchoring breath. And in the space of quiet, I would love for you to bring to mind a loving person. Maybe it's a grandmother figure. Maybe it's the pure love of a pet. Any time where you felt the absolute love and nothing else from a being in your life. Contact that energy. Their eyes light up when they see you. They're joyful about who you are. And that energy of love and acceptance we allow our hearts, that area in our chest, to simply swell with this love. In this space, in this loving space, bring in the idea of a family member that needs a little bit of this love. Maybe it's a friend close to you that needs a little extra love. Hold them into this space that you've created. Say, may you be well. You be well. This loving wholeness, this bubble of pure love, may you be well. Now let's, with our mind's eye, expand this bubble out into our nation's capital. Let's do that. Imagine someone in our nation's capital, part of our governing leadership, that you agree with. Bring them into the circle. Someone you're rooting for. Bring them into this loving bubble and say with your mind's voice, may you be well. Now, in this loving bubble, we have flooded ourselves, a close family member with loving kindness, and one of our nation's leaders that we agree with into this loving bubble. May they all be well. And for one last time, let's expand it a little further. This time, in your mind's eye, include someone in our nation's capital who you do not agree with, who you do not support. Bring them in to this loving bubble. And say with your mind's energy, may you be well. Breathing in and out. As we flood the whole entire earth with the bubble of love, we wish all individuals, all life forms, love, wholeness, and to be well. gratitude, I breathe in and out. I know that all is well here, and it is good. And so it is. Bring your energy back into the room and slowly wiggle your toes. We have some music from Leah.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
Wow, that was amazing. It is well with my soul. Thank you, Leah. All right, so welcome to August. Is the year flying by for anyone? This topic, this month, the unstatus quo, it's interesting. I agree, Dan. It's like, what are we going to discuss? Well, I love that it comes right after the imperfectly perfect. I love that it does, because just last week, or was it the week before, I mentioned, I think it was last week, how there was a community practice in some of the suggestions in my notes that they give us to all centers. And they suggested that we go out together and this look, find all the things that aren't perfect. And then I said, hold up, record scratch. Aren't perfect? According to who? According to what? You have to, because I am a logical person who's maybe a little too literal for most people's taste, it's fine. I have a question. Don't we all have to agree upon a baseline of acceptability before we can then go out and compare reality to what our thoughts were? Yes, we would have to agree upon a baseline, but therein lies the problem. There is no such baseline. And when there is a baseline presented to us, it's called the status quo. It's called the thing that society has all thrown in, what's acceptable. And there's a little narrow little lane that we're supposed to stay in, or else we're outside of the status quo. We're outside of the acceptable. But wait a second, who says? And then, of course, we all sort of tacitly agree upon a certain set of complex, coexisting, commingling sets of reality, or else we wouldn't be able to do anything. We wouldn't have any infrastructure. Nobody would stop at a red light. When stop signs would just be suggestion. It's not necessary. That would be weird for society to not exist with any rules. But I would submit to you that these rules are getting a little crazy. And they're getting a little confining. And it's all under the guise of the status quo. Let's stay within the status quo. Yeah, but that's not cool if it sits there and it excludes a bunch of people. The status quo needs to break out of its cage. I'm imagining now the Grinch's heart, the Grinch, whose heart grew 3 times that day or some number of times and it breaks out of its cage. Remember that show growing up? So how do we break out of the confines of this so-called agreed upon set of limitations and shine? Because if you really check it, there's a lot of built-in systemic exclusions. Not everybody's included in the status quo. Excuse me. Could we possibly make some room at the table? And so this month is talking about how do we unstatus the status quo? How do we break out? And this even involves, and especially involves, our spiritual communities. This is the place where we should be expecting to break out. But for some reason, especially when those of us who go to a brick and mortar congregation, I don't want to use air quotes, a lot of times it's where we're going to sit. We've become comfortable to where we're going to sit. Exactly what seat is my seat. And what we're going to wear is part of that status quo. Every community probably has a status quo. What topics are going to be discussed? There is a narrow range of what topics should be discussed. Anything outside of that topic, narrow range, could be could be looked upon as dangerous. Are we really going to talk about that? We can't talk about that here. Why not? Well, it's just not respectable. Okay, but there's so much more beauty and growth when we're able to break out of the change and include things that we're not used to including, which is why when I took us through our little meditation, I made sure to include some people you don't agree with, people you don't support. They too should not be banned from our love bubble. We should be able to love beyond borders. Shouldn't be any borders. And so that's what we're talking about, making a rich community out of what we come to every Sunday. We get together. We want to be inclusive. And we don't want to have to stuff down things or pretend certain topics don't exist because they're inappropriate. It turns out that those things are taboo. Oh, you can't discuss that. It's taboo. And a lot of times, the people who come to our centers in order to grow, they're facing these issues. And if they can't talk about them in spiritual community, well, then where can they talk about them? We can't say, oh, shh, put my lips over your mouth. Shh, don't say. Okay, not good. So what kind of things? What kind of things? This whole month is full of all the taboo topics. All of them. Well, most of them. We're talking sex. Oh, you can't talk about sex at church. Shh, hide the children. Plug their ears. Girl, they probably know more about sex than you do, depending on how old they are. Anywho, back to the talk. Marginalization. Are we putting people on the margins, on the sidelines? What about trauma? Whatever kind of trauma has happened. What about abusiveness, whether it's physical, emotionally, or spiritually? Yeah, that happens. Abusiveness. Disabilities, or just the opposite, ableism, where a lot of things don't even take into account that someone may move about this planet in a way other than on two legs. Can we include, please? What about addiction? How come we don't really allow ourselves to face that sort of thing? Is it like at the gym where you can't show up at the gym unless you look cute in your outfit, but the whole point of going to the gym is to, bulk up and slim down parts of you so that you feel cute in the outfit? Do you have to get in shape to go get in shape? I have questions. So this is the thing where we're trying to create a sense of gatekeeping in certain areas where thou shalt not pass with these words, thou shalt not have this opinion, thou shalt not. Anyway, I'm still going. I'm reading a list. After addiction, shame. A lot of times we're just fully ashamed of something. And chronic illness could be a thing. And in a spiritual community like New Thought, oh my God, the way they shame the people and blame the people for having a chronic illness. Because they say, oh, you're supposed to change your thinking and change your life. And everything you think of, you can have it, just like putting in an order at a restaurant. If you just ask for it, it'll come to you. And when it doesn't, what did you do wrong? Never mind the fact that we exist in a confluence of lots of effects, lots of impacts, lots of things are impacting our experience, from structural issues to not only my ideas and my thoughts becoming things, but your thoughts becoming things, and a group think becoming thing. And then the whole set of laws and other structures that are enforcing the thing. You can't be 100% responsible for your experience or for your chronic illness, even though people told you what was in your consciousness when you contacted that disease. So, it's not gonna fly. We get to bring in all of it. Oh, I'm not done. The whole list. Mental health issues. Again, refer to the blame in the previous section. Consent. What is it to consent? Did you have consent when you did that thing? Oh, are we not supposed to talk about that? Okay, where can we talk about it? Okay, and then you got the good old racism that just captures all of it. The racism that comes from the structured abuse and use of Black bodies to create wealth. Is racism always against Black people? No, you can have racism across the board. Usually it comes from the culture that is in charge, and they turn around and other everybody else, and that becomes the racism there because of where you came from, what your genetics are. Therefore, you're not, I'm tired just talking about it. That big one. And then, another one, poverty. Poverty. Oh, and New Thought, you will be told what's in your consciousness. You need to work on your consciousness of wealth. If you're not feeling prosperous, if you're not expressing abundance, we love to do that. And then, of course, food insecurity. Food insecurity as probably an effect of poverty. And you won't really find that a lot in our centers because we're supposed to not look at that and just only look at the high points. We love to do a little spiritual bypass, which says, we're fine. Just affirmations. Do your affirmations. It's all good. Everything's fine. It's all working out just for me. Let's just gloss over the issues and go positive thinking. And then politics, I won't even touch it, but politics, you're not supposed to bring those into. How can you bring politics into a center when you're supposed to be, because we're supposed to separate religion and politics? All right, okay, I feel you. That's true. And since when did the human condition not be brought up in church? Jesus was one of the first fully talked about social justice warriors. He would go out there and say and see an injustice and be like, hold up, y'all gonna really stone this woman? What does she do? And then, you should see, she did this and that. All right, so which one of y'all don't have anything wrong with you? And they all just scattered. Isn't that interesting? So it was one of those things where you get to stand up for those people who are obviously being marginalized and oppressed in a way that's so hypocritical that it's ridiculous. We get to point that out too. And no, it's not political to point out that, yes, we need to make sure that policemen are not killing Black people. Oh, it's called Black Lives Matter. Is that a political platform? Excuse me, no, I feel like Jesus would have said it too. He'd have said it. He would have been like, Black lives do matter. Why is that an issue? And so that's the idea. We want to make sure that we are not creating a little ivory tower or some sort of center where we come together and pretend to be fine, doing spiritual bypass and saying lots of little things, affirmations and all little platitudes to make everybody stop talking about what's right in front of us so that we can be spiritual. If we cannot be spiritual with what's right in front of us, then define spirituality for me. Define it. If it does not include everything exactly the way it is. If it is what it is, it must be part of God, part of the universe, part of the divine. It exists, doesn't it? Well, why should I shoo it away? Maybe there's something to be learned. Maybe I can cultivate a sense of curiosity. No, I know, it's true. So what if some dude showed up and he looked like the typical dude? And what if he had on like a MAGA hat and a Make America Great Again shirt and sat right down in the Zoom and was like, it's on me and the rest of us to be like, welcome, we accept all people. Now, do we give them a platform and put them in front and let them just talk? Probably not. But do you see how we don't just say, oh my gosh, you don't look like you need to look, kick out? No. And so there's something happening when we have othering, because when we other, what we're doing is we're saying, we have a group of people here, it's my people, and you're not one of them. And then it moves on into, I'm right and you're wrong. Right? It's like there's only one side. Only one side. So I'll mention a story, and it happened last Saturday, and I didn't really bring it up the day after because I wasn't sure where to put it. And of course, in preparing for this talk, I'm like, oh, okay, because it didn't belong in last week's talk. It belongs here. So there I was in the hospice volunteer center. You know what I do every weekend. I go give a couple hours at the hospice center nearby. And as usual, I ask the nurses at the nurse station, where should I offer my spiritual? I'm there for spiritual support, whatever that might look like. And typically it's been me just pulling up my phone and finding some music that the person likes, and then we just jam out for about 20 minutes. Sometimes I've yet had them ask me to pray with them, although I offer it. So it's been just me holding space for whatever they're going through. And as you know, hospice is for final care. It's for palliative care as a person is moving through their transition. So I go into this one room because the nurse told me, go in there, see her. She always cries. This lady always cries. She's got cancer and stage, and she's just crying. I think she probably needs some spiritual help. So I go in there, and the lady, she's having a hard time, right? So she sees me, and she's your typical Midwest looking type of lady. Okay, she was a white woman. Nothing against her, but it's important because what's about to happen. So I tell her, I am there for spiritual support. I am a spiritual, that's what I do. And she asked me, well, what kind of religion, what kind of spiritual training have you had? And I've just purposely always said, oh, non-denominational, it's not specific. I went to ministerial school and we learned about all the traditions. And she immediately said, nope, I don't like that. I believe Jesus. I'm a Christian and I'm saved and I believe. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's absolutely wonderful. That is wonderful. And then I sat down. I go, I hope you don't mind if I sit down. She's like, And she's still kind of like, and she says, I don't believe in all that. All roads lead to heaven. And I'm like, it's okay. That's great. Well, I love Jesus. So what is your favorite teaching from Jesus? And she blinks and she's like confused. And she's like, oh, I don't really study that. It's all about the religion that is based on it. I do. And I'm like, so maybe she doesn't understand what I asked her. She pretty much said she doesn't know. She doesn't have any teachings. She doesn't study Jesus's teachings. She's part of an organization. And so I did it in other manners. She added in a few. I don't like that whole Obama. I don't like Obama. What I got to do with me? And then I said, oh, I see what that has to do with me. But anyway, I'm still trying to make it nice. I'm still like, So I asked her, I said, when I was growing up, we had a Bible. I loved the part of the Bible. Have you seen it? Where all the words of Jesus were in red. Like when he said stuff, the words were in red writing instead of black writing. Do you have one of those Bibles? Did you have one of those Bibles where just trying to find common ground? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was just like, all right. So, and then she picked up her phone and said, I have to call my daughter. I said, you do that. God bless you. Have a great day. And I went out. And then I found the nurse and the nurse said to me, so what happened? I'm like, well, I think that she needs a different type of spiritual counseling because she doesn't like Obama. And the nurse, who was also Black, was like, oh. And I'm like, then I felt bad because I thought maybe I gossiped about the lady because she didn't, but I was just telling her my experience. And so the nurse was like, and she just a knowing look. And then I didn't want to be on the us and them on any side of it. So I just kind of, God bless you, have a great day, whoop. And I moved down the hallway and did something different. What's the point about this talk? It's insane right now how we all can sit in some corner of some section of some partition of some religion. Do you hear the levels of separateness I just explained? And we will swear that we're different from them. And those people are going to go wherever, to whatever horrible place that the religion has taught them to be. Where what is the truth about it is that we all are part of a bigger self. We all are, shall we say, rays of sunshine from one sun, the shining one in the sky, if you want to use it. We are all waves on top of a huge ocean. And we love to think that we're so different because our section of our piece, of our corner, of our partition, of our religion is right. And 99.9% of everybody else is absolutely wrong. It's insane. We can't see that we're almost exactly alike, only different by a tiny little percentage, especially if you look at DNA. We're not that different at all. And it's definitely not along the lines that we can see. We probably have more in common with each other's DNA between some Chinese guy and some African dude, probably more alike than the people that look. It's just insane the way little differences, instead of cherishing them and holding them dear, because by being different, we expand the fabric of universal wholeness. We make it beautiful. We weave a wonderful fabric with divine patterns going through it, with little sparks and little deep things and little light things, and everybody's slightly different, giving a tapestry of beauty. No, we'd rather sit and judge. My edge of the tapestry is better than your edge because we've got yellow. What are we doing? Finding differences and really fighting to find them and fighting to remain different. Where did it come from? Where did othering come from? Well, they tell me it's human nature, that we're naturally categorizing. We love to categorize things because of survival, and we only use a certain amount of our brain consciously. The rest of the brain's still working, but only a fraction of it comes to our conscious attention, and we have to quickly sort and group things so that we can stay alive. I get it. Things that look like tigers and lions are probably going to eat me, so I'm going to categorize that as bad, and I'm going to run from it because I don't want to die. Okay, great. But how did we get to this? There's no lions and tigers in my corner of my city. So why am I still othering? Because it's still a survival instinct. There's something about tribal us versus them. And here's a way to prove it, or to show that it's really in play. A lot of times when we look at the news, none of the problems of other groups of people are personal or even relevant until that politician has a family member who goes through it, and then all of a sudden, oh, it affects me. There's a lot of times where we read about people and we are aware of certain things, but until we know somebody and love that person, then it becomes, oh, I didn't know. Then the compassion can come out. And here's how I'll prove it, because I know for me, back in the day, I want to say 20 years ago, I'm driving and I'm being all late for something, which means I'm speeding, which means I'm weaving in and out of traffic. I'm being that girl driving. And then someone cuts me off and I get mad. And then I think to myself, oh, what if that's fill in the friend, fill in the name of a friend or your mom? I just did this. I played a little game with myself. What if that was my mom that just cut me off? What if that was my friend that just cut me off? Then I can find some compassion for that person, can I? Can't I? I could, because all of a sudden I've shifted it. I've shifted it where, oh, I know them, so now their behavior is kind of okay. Don't we do that? Don't we do that? The look on someone's face coming from a stranger, oh, we'll project all kinds of hostility and then respond in a way and post up, and then there's a fight. Well, if that's a loved one looking at us, then we're like, are you okay? Are you okay? You feeling? Sometimes their reaction to us has more to do with the fact that they have to fart. I said it. They have to fart. And they got that look on their face because they're holding back. And we took it personally, but we don't know them. So all we do is feel hostile. But if we do know them, we'll be like, are you okay? Uh-oh, that burrito, you shouldn't have had it. You see how we can be different when the people we love are in front of us versus the people we don't know. This proves to me that all we have is a problem with getting to know people. And if that wasn't the truth, then the person, that Daryl guy who made friends with the Ku Klux Klan members and collected over 50 robes now, because every time he made friends with them, him a black guy, they're a Ku Klux Klan member, the KKK member said, oh my God, what are we doing? Black people aren't terrible. Why? My belief system sucks. Here, take my robe, add it to your collection. We just have a problem of not talking to each other, of really not being near each other, not getting to know each other. And then we isolate ourselves, we make up stories, and it becomes us versus them. And none of us are right, but we're convinced we're right. And because we're convinced we're right, you have the ingredients of war making. All you need to start a war is two people that think they're right about this, about opposite sides of the same thing. All you need. And what would make wars never happen is if the people were just kind of like, I think I'm right, but say more. If they weren't convinced they were right, what would there be to fight about? If every time someone said something and there wasn't if there was a, oh, tell me more. Really fascinating that you see it that way. If we were curious rather than so convinced of our rightness, then we wouldn't have the tension that would be needed to exponentially create violence. So what are we going to do this week? I invite you, now it's not going to be a huge homework, so don't freak out. I invite you to smile and say hi to people who didn't expect someone like you to smile and say hi to them. I don't know what that means. It's going to mean something else for everybody. But smile and say hi to someone who you know doesn't expect you to do that. And then we'll report back and see how it goes. All right, I can end with a quote. This is a really good one. Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind magazine. While all people have the same origin, no two are alike except in ultimate essence. A person is an individualized center of God consciousness and spiritual power, as complete as they know themselves to be. And they know themselves only as they comprehend their relationship to the whole. So think about that. All right, let's go within and do a quick prayer. I don't see any prayer requests in the chat. There's only one divine life. This emanating power, whether we think of it as the sun from which all rays of light come, so is the divine from which each of us comes. Whether we think of it as the ocean upon which a lot of waves surface, so are we, the waves upon the divine ocean. That all of our energy, all of our life sense comes from one source. And for everyone around us, this is also true. We couldn't be separate. We are all part of the same divine design. And so knowing that we are all one, this individuality we have sits on top of a unity that cannot be denied. We are all connected. So I speak my word for everybody here within the sound of my voice that we are more in tune with how we are alike than how we are unalike. I speak my word that each of us reaches across the so-called aisle to find something in common with others, so that there is not a sense of loneliness and fear, but there is a cultivated sense of unity and love, because that is the energy that is able to change everything. Love is so much more powerful than fear. It dissolves fear within moments. Love is the order of the day. And so I speak my word that for the rest of this week, we emanate this love. We are aware of it. We cultivate it. We move it through our energy, through our connections, and even in our minds as we greet each other in this world, knowing that we are making a ripple effect happen and we are making this world a better place. I release my word into the law, knowing that it is already happening. I let it go, and so it is. Ashi. Let's hear from Leah.
Hey, you guys, Leah here. So, I'm going to sing a song for you. And it's cool if you just want to listen. But it'd be great if you feel like singing along or maybe doing the moves that I'm going to do. You might even want to add other words into it: peace, love, joy. It's important that we embody these messages, that they become part of who we are, so that when we go into the world, we're not out looking for peace, looking for love, looking for joy, that we are that and that we bring it to every situation that we enter. Peace is not off in the distance. Peace is part of our existence.
Peace be with me, peace before me, peace to the right of me, peace behind me, peace to the left of me, peace above me, peace below me, peace within. Peace be with you, peace before you, peace to the right of you, peace behind you, peace to the left of you, peace above you, peace below you, peace within. Peace be with us, peace before us, peace to the right of us, peace behind us, peace to the left of us, peace above us, peace below us, peace within. Peace be with us, peace before us, peace to the right of us, peace behind us, peace to the left of us, peace above us, peace below us, peace within. Peace within, peace within, peace within.
Now's the time to bless the donation shared today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation, so we are a tithing community. The donations shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donation helps our center, our CSL home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. We're always looking for suggestions of organizations that we should consider. Go to our website and click Give. Please look at our screen. There are many ways to give. It's easy to find a way that works best for you. You may also go to the website cslleesburg.org and click the Donate button. We thank you for your support. No matter how you are giving, take that gift, physically or mentally, place it over your heart, and join us in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the lives of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And it's time for our announcements. It's August, and we have, in addition to our Sunday meetings, we have a dream study that meets every other Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Next meeting is on August 10th. So join Charlene and her friends as they listen to each other's dreams and analyze them. And I've heard it's very helpful process, and they've been going on for quite some time now. Open to everyone. And please stay with me. Our affirmation together. I am love.
I'm love.
And looking to your neighbor or somebody with you, or just to back into the camera to the rest of us, point to them and say, you are love.
I'm love.
You are love. And you can unmute now if you want to, and put your hands in the air and say, it's all love.
It's all
love.
If you could stay for a few more minutes, please feel free to join us as we share our pearls, those little nuggets of our service that spoke to our hearts and minds. If you are a visitor, please stay and introduce yourself. We'd love the opportunity to officially greet you. If you have to leave us, we know that you will have a day filled with love, joy, and blessings. Thank you for joining us today.